Come on in. Thank you for being here. If you don't know who I am, my name is Koyeta and I help you build a business and a life you don't need a vacation from. Okay, that's as serious in today's date. Mental wealth is a serious thing in today's in the last couple of years. It's been really magnified. And so part of how you can do that is building a life that you enjoy, that you love, that you don't need to take time away from, right? And so that's what I'm here for. And this, what I'm talking about today is something that is a continuation from a post I made this week pertaining to the DM. But it overall spawned a larger conversation about changing the way you do business. And I think it's a worthwhile conversation to have. Now, how you change the way you do business is by allowing yourself to build a relationship with your clients, right? Build a relationship with your potential client. And I want you to think of the process of courting a client like dating, right? Making a sale, that whole sales process is a dating process. When you first meet someone, you get to know them better. And so what you're doing through conversation and through, building a relationship with your client is getting to know them better, and also for them getting to know you better. So you first have to build rapport before you start asking for stuff. You're not gonna, meet somebody and say, hey, I need some money. That takes time. You build a relationship, you build a rapport. And so for my single people, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? You're not going to give someone your number when you first meet them. That's not how this works, right? It takes time. You may see them and, they look at you a certain way. They say, hey, and, you strike up a small conversation, and then that's the end of that. Or you see them again and you see them again, and, you strike up a larger conversation, which then leads to an exchange where you can begin the process of getting to know each other. When you are in this process of making the sale, or you're with your customer, your prospects, you're dating, you're building rapport, you're building relationship. And once you are within that stage, once you are there, then you can move on to then ask for the sale. You can't just jump to a sale. You're going to get rejected. People are not going to respond. You're not going to get the what you need, right? And so your business will be lagging, your sales will be lagging. But again, don't jump in people's DMs, asking them, sending them stuff they never asked for. That's not how you do business. And I'm strongly urging you to not do that. If you are doing it, please stop, because it doesn't work. It doesn't work. I find it ghetto, to be honest. I find it ghetto for you to just jump in and be asking for numbers. That's crazy, right? You don't meet somebody and ask them for money. You don't, start dating and then you're, yes, you don't start, you don't just jump right into dating. It takes time. So give yourself time to build a relationship. All right. The next thing you're going to have to change is getting a plan. When I'm with clients, sometimes you got no plan. What happens is you're getting a good month or good couple of months, and then you turn around and you're like, this is so great. How did it happen? And the thing is, you have to write it down. You have to write it down to figure out what you did, to figure out how you did it so you can repeat it. That's the way you build your business. That's the way you get repeated sales. That's the way you build a process that's you can replicate for yourself and you can teach to someone else. If you are not doing that, if you have no plan, then you can't see how things have evolved in your business, right? You can see the areas of opportunities and how you're really growing and what areas are growing. And so it's really important that you take the time to build a plan. It's just useful. It's a useful tool to help you see how far you've come, to see how much you've grown, to see how much your business has changed, or to see how you need improvement. So please get a plan. It doesn't have to be something complicated, but you need a plan. Now, the third thing you're going to need to do is to stop thinking small. Stop thinking small. Just the other day I was talking to a friend and I said my little businesses, and I didn't even catch myself until like days later to understand that you're still using words and phrases to keep your business small, to keep your thinking small, to keep you small, right? So that's something I still have to work on. And that's something that we all have to work on, because the way we think about our business, the language we use about a business it's what's keeping you small, right? It's calling your business little, like hoarding the money you make. It's hoarding the money you have. There's a fear that you're going to, lose it, right? There's a fear that you're afraid to either use it or lose it. Okay? So when it comes to money, especially when you first get that money, it's either you like hoard it or spend it recklessly, right? Because when you come into new money, it's like, yes, 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 I can live the life. And that may enter your mind. And there was a time that I was like, I got to hold on to this. But the fact is, once you start making the money, the interest rate in the bank will never supersede the returns that you can make on your investment. So you can look to use your money. Stop thinking small about it and look to use your money to make money, right? Use your money to make money. That's one of the things I do, and that's some of the things I teach you to do, right? So something I did was invest my money. I invested my money in a few different things that yields return, okay? That yields returns. And so that's what you need to be doing. Now, the last thing you need to do is stop waiting for perfect. Stop waiting for things to be perfect. Stop waiting for perfection. Stop waiting to be fear-free. Stop waiting to, till you have everything together to sell, or to, oh yeah, I'm going to wait till I get clarity. So often, sometimes you don't get the clarity until you start doing, till you start being, till you start operating, right? Because the act of doing provides the results. Sometimes as you're going along, you start to understand more of what you need to do, what you need to say, what worked, what didn't work. And then you start to refine your process, refine your speech, refine your sales, But if you're not doing anything, there's nothing to refine. There's nothing to fix. There's nothing to change. There's nothing to work with. And so don't wait for perfection. Just start the process and get the refinement over time. And if the goal is to have a business that gives you a life that fulfills your dreams, that you don't need a vacation from, that you can, help a family member buy multiple properties. Like, what is your goal? Let your goal be your driver and not the fear, right? And not this whole waiting for perfection. Because I can tell you now, I don't like lives. I show up here because I'm training myself. And I've been showing up here for the past few years. This is not comfortable for me. I would rather hide in the background and just do some work, right? But I show up because I'm training myself. I am showing up as the person I want to be. And I know that when I show up, it's beneficial, not just for me, but for you guys. I want you to think about these things as means to help your business get better. Build a relationship before you ask for business. Number one, okay? You're going to have to create a plan so you are able to chart what you did, so you can replicate what you did, right? I need y'all to stop thinking small. Thinking small is not going to work in this arena. If your dreams are too small, as they say, then you're not dreaming big enough, right? And I also want you to stop waiting. Stop waiting. There's no point in waiting. When you wait, you are essentially years away from something that you could have had, years ago, right? You're months away from something you could have been doing a long time ago. You could have gotten past your fear years ago if you did it. So keep showing up, keep producing, keep, showing up for your clients and for yourself, because it makes a difference. So if you are thinking beyond the internet, beyond, what you do currently, into something more global or something more international, like speaking and so forth, practice showing up here first, because it's going to make a difference. Okay? Practice showing up here first consistently, because it's going to make a difference. That's how you're going to grow as a person. Talk to you guys later. Enjoy your day.